Etsy wouldn't answer your questions, so I will. This is part 2, but you don't need to have watched part 1 to see this. But basically, about a month ago, Etsy did a webinar talking about, well, Google SEO. But there was a form you could put in all your questions there. And obviously, Etsy in their live stream weren't able to answer many of the questions. So I grabbed a hold of the questions and decided to answer them for you. Yeah, so I won't be sharing any of the names or anything from the questions because they didn't agree to me sharing them. But yeah, let's get into it, see what people were asking and see what answers we've got. Firstly, what about one-of-a-kind shops? As this was specifically talking about SEO, I know this is a question that people worry about if you have one-of-a-kind items. And the Etsy Your Search Questions Answered, that was an article way back in, I think, about 2018. They did mention this in that Etsy looks at the past performance of previous listings in your shop and previous listings across Etsy. So there's a couple of things there. That does tell me that, yes, they're aware of what else is in your shop. So there's a possibility that might be Etsy suggesting that you can build up sort of authority for search terms just by doing well with them. But also, if your items are very one of a kind, it's going to be hard. Potentially, it can be hard to find the right keywords for them, but you want to look at other similar items that are doing well, not to entirely copy their SEO, but it gives, rather than just saying you are making this one of a kind thing that nobody has ever heard of, people making some kind of brand new art that totally, absolutely no one's heard of it, so they wouldn't be searching for it, so there aren't keywords for it as well. What you want to do is find other types of art form that are in a similar enough style that other people might be interested in them, and look for keywords in that kind of range to give Etsy an idea that although your thing is very unique, it's also very similar to that. Now, this isn't totally copying bestsellers keywords because that doesn't work, but it's being inspired by the direction they're going in. Somebody asked, how important is it to use the banner feature? Not at all, or quite a lot. It really depends. The banner on Etsy is an aesthetic thing. You can use it to show what offers you've got on, to direct people to show that you're a handmade shop. It can be a really cool thing. If you pay for the upgrade to Etsy, you can have a revolving banner, I think, that is clickable links to shop sections, which can be kind of cool. It's not any kind of direct SEO impact. The only way it would cause an increase, a good positive SEO thing, is if people are seeing that and spending more time in your shop. So if it helps them, they want to they click on the banner and get taken to a section and they hang around and then they go on and buy stuff, that might help your shop overall get more sales and do better. So that's a good thing. But what it can do, some people, you can get different sort of sizes of banners, and sometimes if people make them too big and the banner's not particularly good, it's possibly got follow me on all this social and do all this kind of stuff, and there's nothing really showing what the shop's about, so people might jump away from it. So if you're doing the large size banner that basically that's all people are going to see on their screens, make sure it's a good representation of what's in your shop. But from SEO terms, do what you like the look of. I sell digital wedding stationery, but how should I word it in the listing title to optimize SEO? Okay, I'm not going to dig into digital wedding stationery, but the trick is to look at what people are searching for. So you can ask your family and friends, you can guess in your head what you would search for, you can type into the top bar of Etsy. I don't recommend that for numerous reasons, but it's a good way to get some ideas. You can look at competitor listings to see how they word it, but something like a tool like eRank, although I also work for eRank, I work for them because I use it, a tool like eRank can show you what people are actually searching for and how they're wording it. It specifically is showing you the way that people are wording it. So what you want to do when you're making your title, when you're creating your listing, have a search for good keywords that you think have enough people searching for them, describes your item, but it's not too competitive based on how good your shop is. By good, I mean how many sales and how well it ranks for other things. So you can say, okay, this shop's good at ranking, or okay, I haven't been able to rank for things that competitive. Maybe I'll ease back on the competitiveness. So find yourself a load of decent keywords. Now, when you're just pulling together all the keywords that you like the look of, don't get rid of the ones that are too competitive or not enough people searching. If they're relevant, just compile an entire list of the relevant ones. But then what you're looking for is 2 or 3 superstar keywords. These are the ones that you consider are the very most important. So they have the competition at the right level. They have everything looking as good as they can. Nothing's going to be perfect, but they're the ones you're like, yeah, I want to test these in this listing. And how you should word it in your title is exactly the way the customers word it. Make that first keyword phrase that you put up there, that's the one that's going to be seen by shoppers in the search, make it be what people are searching for. So they look and they go, yes, that item is exactly what it is that I'm looking for. And then put the other superstar keywords on that title as well. And yeah, then let it run. And you don't have to. There's different ways to do titles. Some people totally keyword stuff, some people not so much. It's up to you. But you don't have to get every single thing into one title, because not every one listing is going to work perfectly. So I would definitely focus hardest in on the few that you've discovered that are the very best. And if you had some more that were kind of good as well, if you're doing digital wedding stationery, you're going to have more than one item. So in your next item, perhaps pick one of those superstar keywords and 2 from somewhere else. And next item, a different one of those superstar keywords. So you're sort of mixing and matching. You have listings that are, whoa, what am I doing with my hands? You have listings that are going for a whole load of different keywords. With tags, should you use single word tags, and will they be combined, or multi-word tags? Punctuate. I get told off for this all the time. The person did no punctuation, so I was trying to translate it in my head. There is no SEO penalty to having single word tags, and they would be combined by the algorithm. But the problem is, if you just have single word tags, then you're reducing the number of terms that you can explain to Etsy what your listing's all about. So this might work for some people who are dominating a niche and don't need loads of other things. But there is something to be said for the spaghetti at the wall approach. Use up all the space in your tags. If a keyword you found is just a single word, you can put, if it fits, another word into that tag, and the algorithm will mix and match you across the tags. So I wouldn't advise single word tags, but if your listing is performing great, don't touch it. I have multiple listings that are terrible, but there's no point changing them. I just try and do better going forwards. Can you go over punctuation in product titles? No keyword stuffing, but is using as many long tail keywords best, or keeping it short? There's arguments over what is keyword stuffing. In the Etsy webinar that we're talking about, this Google SEO person, and by the way, he's a Google SEO expert on Etsy. He optimizes Etsy for Google SEO. He is not a Google employee, and he doesn't know he doesn't have any secret insight into how Google SEO works. But how he describes keyword stuffing is a lot of phrases using the same word. So wedding ring, engagement ring gift for her. Now that would be very keyword stuffing, but in general, how a lot of people talk about keyword stuffing is trying to stuff in a whole lot of keywords. So having a very long title could be considered keyword stuffing by some people. But should you use as many long tail keywords as possible, or keep the title short? Depends. There's many factors that go into this. First of all, I have done some tests, and an item ranks ever so slightly better if the title's shorter. However, if you have a longer title, the terms in your keywords are prime real estate. They have the highest ranking power. You're far more likely to rank for the terms in your title, especially if you have them in your title and your tags, but the title has the big hitters. So if you have just a very short title that's focused in and saying, I really want to rank for this little thing, I have all my eggs in this basket. Whereas if you have lots and lots of terms, each term doesn't rank quite as high as it could do, but you've got a chance of being seen in more places. So it's up to you. How, like, you could try lots of terms and see what works, and then if you're really struggling to rank for something that looks really good, maybe cut it down and experiment with that. The other thing is, how will customers view it? Some items people don't care if you've got a very long title that doesn't make a lot of sense, but perhaps something like a beautiful wedding dress, you don't necessarily expect it to be fully keyword stuffed. If something has that big run-on title, it might confuse you to what the item is. You might think you're getting more than one thing if it has lots of different phrases, and it just might make it look cheaper. So there's no right answer. Experiment with your titles. I recently went through rebranding and changed my company name and my shop name. My sales dropped dramatically. How much impact, if any, does changing my shop name have on SEO? The basic SEO of people searching for keywords and seeing you coming up in search, changing your shop name shouldn't make any difference at all. People searching for your shop name at the same time, Etsy does redirect. So I would say potentially there might be a small impact in that when people come in looking for your shop, if they see a totally different shop name and maybe you've said rebranding, say a different banner and everything, they might think, oh, this wasn't the shop I wanted. Oh, whoops. And they'll think they're in the wrong shop. So I would, if you're rebranding, maybe in your banner, put something like formerly known as this name. So people might get confused. Actually, it's a thing on this YouTube channel many moons ago. When I started it, I used my Etsy shop name because it was supposed to be to help me advertising my shop. I didn't do that. I got distracted. I do that a lot. So when I changed, I rebranded to my own name instead of my shop name. I was so small that it didn't make much of a difference, but I did have some people come in a few weeks later and go, I thought I'd lost you because I never saw any of your things until I recognized you in a thumbnail. So people were confused, but the branding of being me. So the same, if you change everything all at once and your shop looks totally different, then that might affect your return customers, the people who are searching for you. But in general, it shouldn't. And I would say your sales drop dramatically is possibly a coincidence because a lot of people are finding their sales dropping dramatically just now. Mine are actually up just now. Let me know in the comments how yours are doing. But lots of people, so many people are saying, I did this and my sales tanked. I did this and my sales tanked. But what is actually happening is people's sales are tanking just now. It's a difficult time. Would we be told if Google is not indexing our shop? This is a thing when you are any website submitting it to Google. Indexing just means it's not going to show. Well, indexing it means it's like putting the file so that Google's going to show it up in search. In the webinar, they mentioned there's certain things that someone can do that would get a website not indexed by Google. They'd be, oh, this is a scammy thing. No, Google doesn't let you know, and it doesn't let Etsy know, and Etsy's not going to let you know. If you search on Google, create a tag or a title that's very, very specific to your shop and your brand, search for it, and if absolutely nothing comes up, then there's a potential, but it could just be your shop's too new because takes time for the little Google bots to crawl and find your shop. Does Facebook promotion work well to increase sales on Etsy? Yes, but if you're asking that, I probably wouldn't be doing it. Facebook promotion, Facebook ads that you are, well, if you're talking about Facebook ads is a complicated animal. I am not an expert on it by any means, but it's very much not a put money into it and sales will come. You have to be specific about your audience, who you want to show the ads to. Your ads have to be interesting, that people are going to click on them when they see them, and all that noise that's going about Facebook. And even Etsy's struggling with promoting things just now, because Temu and the likes and everybody who's struggling pours money into ads, thinking they're about to get some sales, pouring money into ads. So ads become very expensive at a time like this. So if you're an expert on ads, then yes. But for most of the rest of us, it's definitely going to be a gamble. I would say if you're seeing in your Etsy shop that your offsite ads, you're getting a lot of views, a lot of sales coming in from Facebook, then yeah, the Facebook promotion might well work, and it might be worth a gamble at. If you mean just regular having a business page and doing your own thing to promote on Facebook, does that work to increase sales? If you do it well, so many people do Facebook marketing or any social media marketing so wrong. I'm going to make another video on this. I'm sure I've made tons of videos on this, but just posting stuff going, go to my shop, go to my shop, go to my shop, go to my shop. Unless your items are amazing, people don't care. And the thing with platforms like Facebook is, even if you have 1 million followers, if you post things that your followers don't like the look of, that don't interact with, that scroll on by, then Facebook or wherever else will show your posts less and less and less. This is where people say, oh, on a business page, you can't even get seen unless you pay for ads. No, it's just because your posts were rubbish. If people share it and love it and comment on it, and you have a good active community, then Etsy will start showing them to more of your, Facebook will start showing them to more of your followers. And if it's a public page, if it's doing super well, then they'll show it to more people that aren't even your followers. If you post things that are rubbish, it'll just be shown to you and your mum, pretty much. Just some of these comments are not really questions. Why does my shop not show up in an Etsy search? I can see why they didn't answer this one. This is a massive, massive question. But why doesn't my shop show up in the Etsy search? It could be, one little thing is, it could be mature content. We spoke about this before. Etsy hides mature content from normal searches because it doesn't want... I don't know what I can actually say. The things go around in my head, but I can't say them on YouTube because YouTube doesn't like rude words. But if you have mature things in your shop, you might not show up in regular search. If you have, I don't know, kinky handcuffs and kinky handcuff bracelet, you're not likely to show up for bracelet. So that could be one reason. You might not be indexed. We just talked about indexing for Google. Sometimes, Etsy has to index. Usually it's pretty quick, but if you haven't been indexed to show up in search yet, then you won't show up in search. So if absolutely nothing shows up for any search, not even your shop name, check with Etsy, ask them if you've been indexed, get them to check that. Why does it not show up in Etsy search? Perhaps you're not putting keywords in your title and tags. If your listing is watercolor number 7 in beige, Etsy's got nothing to go on there. It doesn't understand who to show you to, so you probably won't show up in search. And if your title and tags is simply wedding ring, that is far too competitive, and Etsy you're in search, but you're in page 9,000. So yeah, there's a multitude of reasons. What kind of picture does Google like? There's Google is cleverer than Etsy. Google likes the kind of pictures that people like. So if somebody searches for a certain thing and they click on your picture and they don't come back and search again because your picture answered their question, gave them the item they want, that your picture answered their search, then Google goes, oh, that's a good picture. It's not looking to see, is it off? Is it following the rule of thirds? Is the light balance good? Is it got a white background or whatever else? Now, Google Shopping might like slightly different things, but regular Google, if the people doing the searching like the things they're showing, Google will show the things more. Has a recent Google update affected Etsy's appearance in Google search? It feels like Etsy itself has fallen in search. That's not really something. Well, no, I kind of can answer it. Just about everything you search for comes up with an Etsy pretty much at the top of the page. So Etsy's doing pretty good. I think the problem is, quite simply, everybody's searching less. People are coming to Etsy less. People are searching on Etsy less. People are searching for things to buy on Google less. Etsy said this in the investor report, not this exactly, but said, things are quieter because of the world and the economy and the fact that people are going into shops again instead of just being locked up in their houses. So Etsy, I don't believe Etsy's fallen in search. This is a funny thing, actually. People, if you only hang around in Etsy spaces, you'll see there's been an Etsy algorithm update. What's happened? Etsy's ruined everything. But if you look in other SEO pages, people are shouting this all the time. Has there been a Google update? Things have changed? I've crashed. And Google does update things, but it updates things the same as Etsy. It updates things because it wants to make them better. So if there's an update and you no longer show in the search for something, it's not because Google or Etsy made a change. It's because customers aren't liking your thing as much as somebody else's thing, and you were relying perhaps on some kind of SEO quirk rather than having the right answers. So the biggest thing that would affect Etsy's appearance in Google search is if people started liking Etsy less. It's showing up high in search because people like it just now, but it is getting a bad name for itself. So is it okay to change shop names frequently for testing what products work? That's two different things. Changing shop names frequently, as I said, could have a negative impact if you've got people searching for you. I think probably you mean title names for testing which products work. So listing title names, it's okay to change them frequently, but it's not really going to help you a whole lot because Etsy takes a bit of time. There's been some of my listings for fairly competitive keywords. What's happened is they didn't rank in search to start with. But as they get some sales from other lesser keywords, they start to build up a better listing quality score. Etsy goes, hang on, this is a kind of good listing. So over time, they build up and they build up and they build up until eventually they start showing and eventually they start selling more. So there's no specific time limit for how long it takes your listing to be shown or how long changes show up or start working or whatever. It depends on the customers and all that good stuff. But if you keep on changing your titles and go, that doesn't work, I'll change this, that doesn't work, I'll change this, then the Etsy algorithm is going, oh, hang on, this listing was quite good for this keyword. Oh, but it no longer has the keyword in the title and tag, so perhaps it's changed, so I won't show it for that. And the algorithm gets confused as to what your listing is. So constantly changing your listing, trying to catch that elusive sale, not a great thing. Much better to hopefully, let the one listing run and go, okay, that I don't think that worked for me, so I'm going to try a different title on this very similar listing and see what happens there. So yeah, don't keep tweaking a listing. Let a listing run, but make something better in a new listing. Oh yeah. Does frequency of new listings impact SEO? This is like the must be active every day in your shop. I hate this advice. You don't must be active every day in your shop. I see people who change their banner or change a word in their announcement every day just to be active every day in their shop. That's rubbish advice. Does frequency of new listings impact SEO? Sort of. Right. I did a test on this not long ago. If you check my videos, it's just a couple of weeks old. But basically, if you in a short period of time release a whole lot of listings, it's not a bad thing, but Etsy is only going to show so many in the search at any one time. So the next one that you release bumps the last one that you released down in the search a little bit. So you're potentially only going to get one or two listings seen, and maybe some of the ones you launched in the middle of the day just aren't going to get seen so much in search. I'm not sure as well. I think Etsy would limit the amount of announcements they sent to someone. Sometimes when you put up a new listing, Etsy will announce to your followers that, hey, Dave's put up a new listing. But if you put up 20 new listings, it's not going to pop up 20 times in the one day. So does the frequency? Yes, it can, like that, but it can be a good thing for you if you have enough followers to get them excited that you're going to launch a range of things. And so if you say, on Tuesday, this is coming up, get ready, because when they're gone, they're gone. Then as soon as you release them, they're selling really quickly. Then your shop has just suddenly had a really cool influx of sales. It looks great. You're doing great. Then it would impact your SEO in a good way. So it really depends. But if you release a listing, if you don't have the kind of following to do a range, you release a listing on one day, it gets its boost in search for Etsy to figure out what's this item all about. I'll test it on some people. And most of us don't have the world's greatest listing compared to everyone else it can show. So what happens is over the course of that day or so, it drops down the rankings. So if on the next day you release a new item, that pops up to not the top, but pops up to this place in the ranking, drops down again, and you put in a new one. So you're always bringing something up higher in search than sort of you deserve, because Etsy's constantly going, oh, here's a new one. How does this do? Here's a new one. How does this do? So depending on the size of your shop, there's a couple of different strategies you could have, but the frequency itself doesn't impact like your entire shop SEO. Does holiday mode affect your Etsy shop? Yes. Yes and no. Well, if you just switch on holiday mode, I could go into my shop right now, switch on holiday mode, and in 5 minutes time switch it off again. That does not impact my shop in any way. Actually, just being on holiday mode doesn't hurt your shop. What happens when you're on a holiday mode, and Etsy has told us this, what happens is that your competitors for the same keyword, the ones you were up against in search, they're getting sales while you're not. So their listing quality score for each of those keywords increases while yours stays the same. So when you come off of holiday mode, suddenly they're all ranking higher, you're not so much. So you might need to build up again, get some of your followers to all excited about buying, but the momentum will come back again because you had a good listing. However, if you're away in the middle of summer and you've got a Christmas gift shop, practically no one's buying anyway, your competitors aren't really making any sales anyway, so you both remain at about the same place. So when you come out of holiday mode, you're fine. So yes, very big competitive shops, it can absolutely kill things for a short time until you bring it up again. But we all need a holiday sometimes. So yeah, don't be afraid to just put it into holiday mode. Okay, that is 30 minutes of answering more Etsy questions. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Yeah, and if you want some more of these, there's still some more Etsy questions there. So if you liked these last two, then let me know and I'll get on to doing some more. Thank you so much. See you later.